Have you ever felt like you're, playing this constant game with competitors, trying to figure out what really gives a company that lasting edge?
Well, today we're going to pull back the curtain on exactly that. We're talking about how businesses achieve what's called a sustained competitive advantage. And the tool we're using, our magnifying glass for this, is a really brilliant framework called VRIO. We're drawing insights from Mastering VRIO, Strategic Advantage for Leaders. So our mission here is basically to give you a shortcut, right? A way to understand how to evaluate those internal strengths, cut through the noise, and hopefully spot what makes a business genuinely strong. We're ready to dig in and see what really drives that advantage.
Yeah, and what's so fascinating, I think, is how Jay Barney's VRIO framework gives you such a clear lens. It helps you look at a resource and figure out, can this genuinely deliver an advantage long term?
Right, it's not just about today.
Exactly. It moves beyond just what seems valuable now
Yeah.
and asks the tougher question. Is
Yeah.
this defensible? Can it last? Absolutely, like building a strategic fortress, maybe. Brick by VRIO Brick. So let's start with that first brick then. V for value. What does it actually mean for a resource to add value?
Well, fundamentally, a resource has to help the company do one of two things. Either exploit some market opportunity or defend itself against threats.
Right.
And it's not just a fuzzy concept. Value needs to be real. It needs to be measurable. It should actively help innovate or maybe cut costs, improve things for the customer, or create some kind of real difference in the market.
Gotcha.
Think about, say, a smartphone brand. Maybe they have this super advanced AI camera that makes photos look amazing, even in bad light, that directly improves the user's experience, right? It gives them a tangible leg up, helps them stand out in a, let's face it, very crowded market.
Makes sense.
But here's a little twist. Sometimes value isn't always about adding more stuff. Consider, like, minimalist software that avoids all the bloat. Its value is actually in its simplicity.
Oh, interesting. Like what it doesn't have.
Exactly. It cuts down on the user's confusion, maybe makes it faster. The lack of features is the value.
That minimalist example is great, actually.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of us immediately jump to thinking value means adding more, bigger, better, faster. So when you're looking at your own situation, the questions you need to ask are things like, does this thing actually help increase revenue? Or does it help cut costs? Does it genuinely make the customer experience better? Does it boost the brand? Can it help fight off competitors? And if the answer is no to all that, well, maybe it's just a cost, not an asset.
Pretty much. It has to deliver on at least one of those fronts.
All right, so step one is value. We've established that.
Yeah.
But, even great ideas, valuable things.
Yeah.
They copied eventually, right? So what's the next layer? How do you actually set yourself apart? Does it come down to, well, can everyone else get this too? Is that rarity?
You nailed it. That's exactly where rarity comes in. Once you know something's valuable, the next critical question, according to Barney, is, how unique is this, really? Because, think about it, if everyone has access to the same valuable resource, it just becomes, well, table stakes. It's expected. It doesn't give you an edge.
Right. It's just the cost of doing business then.
Exactly. So rarity means the resource is genuinely unique, or it's really hard for your competitors to find or get their hands on. Imagine having a highly specialized AI research team. Maybe they're trained in some really niche machine learning field that hardly anyone knows about.
Yeah.
That kind of talent. It's incredibly difficult for most companies to just go out and hire or train up or even afford. That makes it a genuinely rare resource.
So it's like having a standard tool versus a custom-made, one-of-a-kind instrument.
Precisely. That's a good analogy.
Okay, so when you're thinking about your own assets, you're asking, how many of my competitors actually have this? Is it hard to get because of, say, where it is or a lack of skilled people or maybe some exclusive deal I have?
Those are exactly the right questions for rarity.
Okay. Valuable, and now it's rare. That sounds pretty good. Sounds like we're getting somewhere. But, rivals are always watching, aren't they? How do you stop them from just, copying it? What makes it stick for the long haul? They bring us to I for imitability.
Yes, exactly. And this I, imitability, this is where you really start talking about sustained competitive advantage, lasting power.
Right.
Resources are most powerful when they are genuinely hard or really expensive for other companies to duplicate. And imitability, it's influenced by a few things. You've got the obvious ones like patents, legal shields.
Sure.
But often the strongest barriers are actually less tangible. Things like complex social dynamics within a company. that unique culture that just works.
Oh yeah, that's hard to copy.
Very hard. Or maybe years and years of proprietary data, building up those data moats that newcomers just can't cross easily. And here's something often overlooked. The most potent form of imitability might not even be a patent, because patents expire or people find ways around them.
Okay, so what is it?
It's something called causal ambiguity.
Causal ambiguity sounds complex.
It basically means your competitors can't even figure out how you're doing what you're doing, let alone copy it. They see the result, but the cause is ambiguous. It's a mystery.
Like a secret sauce they can't reverse engineer.
Exactly. Think about Amazon's recommendation engine. It's built on just vast amounts of purchase history, browsing behavior, data collected over years and years.
Right.
It's not just some algorithm you can download and run. Replicating that from scratch without that history of customer interaction, incredibly difficult, maybe impossible.
So data can be huge for imitability, or that sort of unquantifiable company culture thing. But what if you're, say, a startup? You don't have decades of data, maybe your culture is still forming. Does VRIO mean you're just stuck, or are there other ways to build that out?
Oh, absolutely not stuck. For newer companies, imitability might come from proprietary tech they developed or really unique internal processes. Or maybe the founding team has this incredibly specialized expertise that's just very hard to replicate. And you can even aim for that causal ambiguity right from the start. You could intentionally design your processes to be really complex and interconnected, making them harder for others to untangle and copy rather than simple and transparent. It's a strategic choice.
It's a really powerful distinction. So you can build it in. And when you're checking for imitability, you'd ask, can competitors just copy this easily? Is it super expensive for them to even try? Is there some unique history or culture or data involved? Are there legal protections like patents stopping them?
Those are the key tests for A.
All right. Valuable, rare, and inimitable. VRI. That sounds like the winning formula, doesn't it? But then we hit the last letter. O for organization. And this seems like where so many companies, even smart ones, stumble. Why do you think that is? Why is this O so often the missing piece?
It really is the Achilles heel for so many. You're right. You can have this amazing, valuable, rare, hard-to-copy resource, but it's basically useless if the company isn't set up to actually use it properly.
Right, like having a race car with no driver.
Or no gas, exactly. Or a world-class athlete without the coaching staff, the training plan, the whole support system. You need the right structure, the right incentives for people, strong leadership that gets it, and just overall alignment. Everyone pulling in the same direction to make the most of what you have.
Okay.
Connecting it back, it's really about asking, is the company truly built to exploit the advantages it possesses? Or do internal systems or culture actually get in the way?
So it's not just having the resources, being able to deploy it effectively.
Precisely. Take Tesla. Their whole culture is geared towards innovation, right? They have agile teams. They do a lot of vertical integration that lets them not just develop cutting-edge battery tech, but actually bring those innovations to market fast and at scale. They operationalize their advantage. It's one thing to invent the best battery in the lab. It's a whole other challenge to build the factory, manage the supply chain, get the sales force moving, and put that battery into millions of cars. That's the O.
That Tesla example really drives it home.
Yeah.
O isn't just tacked on to the end, it's the engine that actually makes the V, R, and I move. So looking at your own situation, you'd ask, do we have the right team, the right leadership, the right systems to actually leverage this thing?
Yep.
Can we do it consistently, day in, day out? Is the whole organization lined up to support it and help it grow?
Yeah.
And maybe. Does this apply just to big companies, or can a small local business or even a nonprofit use this O framework too? Do the challenges change?
Oh, absolutely. The principles hold true regardless of size or type of organization. Think about a small local bakery. Maybe they have a unique secret recipe that's V, R, and I, right?
Sure.
If they also have a really tight-knit team that executes that recipe perfectly every single time and a process for sourcing the best ingredients consistently, that's their O. They have just as much of a VRIO advantage in their local market as a huge tech company does in theirs.
That makes sense. The scale changes, but the VRIO questions are universal. So putting it all together now, what does this mean for, our listeners, whether they're building something, leading a team, or maybe just trying to get smarter about business strategy? How do they use VRIO?
Well, the VRIO framework is fundamentally a really powerful audit tool. You can use it to take stock of your resources, and that means everything. Technology, people, your brand reputation, intellectual property, internal processes, key partnerships.
Okay, so you look at everything.
Yeah, you cast a wide net. And the source we looked at, Mastering VRIO, lays out 5 pretty clear steps. First, you inventory your key resources. Just list out the assets you think are important for your success.
Step 1. List stuff. Got it.
Step 2, assess each one against VRIO. Ask those value, rarity, imitability, and organization questions we've been talking about for each resource on your list.
Yeah.
Be honest.
Okay, VRIO checklist.
Step 3, double down on the winners. The resources that genuinely check all 4 boxes, those are your true strategic advantages. Invest in them, protect them, build around them.
Focus your energy there.
Exactly. Step 4, fix the gaps where you can. What if something is valuable and rare but easy to copy? Or valuable, rare, and imitable, but your organization can't exploit it? See if you can improve the weak spots, maybe find ways to make it harder to copy or restructure things internally.
Right, address the weaknesses.
And finally, step 5, build or refine the O. Really focus on structuring your teams, your processes, your culture to fully exploit the VRI advantages you do have.
It really sounds like it forces you to be quite methodical and honest about what's actually special versus what just feels important.
It does. It helps you identify what truly drives that sustainable advantage, that long-term success, and tells you where to focus your limited time and money for the biggest, most defensible payoffs. It's like strategic X-ray vision for your business.
Strategic X-ray vision. I like that.
Yeah, and the VRIO framework, it's not just theory, right? It's a practical lens. And that quote from the source really sums it up. Most companies have value, some have rarity. Very few are protected from imitation, and even fewer are structured to capitalize on what they have.
Wow. That really puts it in perspective. Most stop way before they get to the full VRIO picture. So if VRIO is like that X-ray, it sounds like it often reveals that many companies are running around thinking they have advantages, but really, they just have common strengths dressed up nicely.
That happens a lot.
The real winners, the champions, are the few who've built those genuine, hard-to-copy capabilities, the VR, and crucially, they've figured out the O, how to actually use them effectively. Which I guess leaves us with a final thought, maybe a question for you listening. When you look at the resources around you, in your job, your team, maybe even your own skills, are you being really honest about what truly makes you or your organization unique? Or are you maybe mistaking some common assets, things lots of people have, for real strategic advantages? Using VRIO seems like a great way to stay honest, stay focused on what matters, and ultimately stay ahead.